In this lesson, I want to talk a little bit about printer lights, give you a little bit of a primer on them, what they are, and how you're going to use them inside of Resolve. Now, before I get rolling, I think it's important to talk a little bit about where they came from. So basically, where printer light came from was back in the days of photochemical color timing. Now, that means in the film process. So basically what had happened back then was that filtered light, red, green, or blue, was shone through the film to change the balance of color in any particular shot. All right, now they were measured in points. There was a 50-point range with a starting place of 25 for each channel. Printer points are still extremely popular and common corrections for setting the primary balance, but also for creating looks. One of the reasons for its popularity is that printer points alter the entire tonal range in the image. This way we stay true to the way the original image was shot, and the result can be very clean and very cinematic. This is a completely different deal than working with the separate tone controls such as the lift, gamma, and gain. So in this lesson I want to show you exactly what you're looking at when it comes to dealing with printer lights. And then in the next lesson we're going to quickly color correct a shot using them. Alright, so let's get rolling. Alright, now before we go on, I want to be very clear that printer lights is exactly the same thing as offsets. Now offsets being red, green, blue, and brightness, which is what Resolve refers to the old printer lights as. So obviously red, green, blue, and brightness right here. Alright, so let's start out by talking about luminance. Now we have my good friend the gradient here. Now you're going to notice that I do not have a curve on here. I don't have a lookup table. I didn't create my own curve. We just have a straight line that represents the tonal range of our shot. Now here's where working with offsets inside of Resolve is important as opposed to working with our lift, gamma, and gain. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get in, I'm going to grab the brightness wheel, I'm just going to drag it to the right. Now you're going to notice what happens in my scope is that the highlights, midtones, and shadows are impacted equally, okay, by this change. Whether I'm adding brightness or taking it away, the tonal range of my shot remains the same. Okay, let's just reset that to put it back the way that it was. Now let me show you what happens when we get in and we impact the lift, gamma, and gain. You'll see that what happens is as we start making these changes, which is a common workflow for most people when they get started working in Resolve, is we've completely broken the tonal range of our image, which is not what we want to do when we're getting started correcting this shot. Let's reset this. All right, let's talk about color now. With the offsets, I'm going to grab the red, we're going to separate green just a little bit here, and blue, and you'll see again, we have the tonal range maintained, and even if we get in and adjust the brightness again, you'll see everything stays in relationship, keeping that tonal range exactly the way that we need it. Now again, let's reset this and let's just impact the lift, gamma, and gain. Once we get in here, you'll see that it immediately just throws everything else completely out of whack. That said, we will use lift, gamma, and gain to adjust color later in this course, but for balancing it's best practice to alter the entire tonal range, and it's the preferred method used in many of the top post facilities in the world. Now what's important to keep in mind is that you can get all kinds of color combinations with just offsets. The combination of red, green, and blue, and the opposites, cyan, magenta, and yellow in varying degrees of intensities can create a variety of different colors. Believe it or not, I say in the good old days, all the tools that the color timers had available to them was printer lights, red, green, blue, and exposure. No lift, no gamma, no gain, and thousands of blockbusters were color timed this way. So you can see what an essential tool offsets and printer lights are inside of Resolve. Let's dive deeper into this topic in the next lesson.